He mihi nui kia koutou ngā tangata whenua huri no te ao, a tēnei te mihi, tēnei te mihi, tēnei te mihi. Mr. Chairperson, the Global Indigenous Youth Caucus will address Agenda Item 4, the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, and will address two issues. First, education is a key theme for youth, and second, the implementation of the Declaration. Turning to the first issue, from a youth perspective, education is a fundamental theme contained in the Declaration. We note the previous study of the expert mechanism submitted to the Human Rights Council in 2009, and in particular, paragraphs 54 to 57. We reaffirmed that Indigenous languages are essential to maintain our identity and to ground ourselves within our Indigenous worldviews. Modern society constrains our ability to learn our native tongue in a traditional way. Therefore, Indigenous language must be recognised and implemented without discrimination into educational curricula in rural and urban schools. Furthermore, curricula must be set by Indigenous peoples to ensure authenticity. Universal access to bilingual and bicultural curricula will uphold the rights of Indigenous youth to learn our own language. Implementing Indigenous language and culture into mainstream schooling curricula will affirm Articles 14, 15, 17, 21 and the preambular paragraphs of the Declaration. As demonstrated in Aotearoa, New Zealand, full immersion Indigenous schools have supported the cultural revitalisation of Māori. Language is the life force of our peoples and must be protected and promoted for future generations. Turning to our second issue, endorsement and implementation of the Declaration. The Declaration is a significant human rights tool for Indigenous peoples, and its importance will continue to grow within our lifetime. However, as an aspirational document, these fundamental rights under the Declaration are in effect empty rights, unless they are incorporated into domestic law. We commend those countries that have endorsed the Declaration and call on the United States and Canada to endorse the Declaration without reservation and with the participation of youth. We note that implementation is essential to give effect and substance to the rights within the Declaration. Incorporation ensures that the state is held accountable for breach of rights under the Declaration. Aside from international pressure and judicial creativity, it is difficult for our peoples to hold their state accountable when the Declaration is merely endorsed. We, the Youth Caucus, also wish to focus on the doctrine of parliamentary sovereignty, also known as state sovereignty, as a barrier to the implementation of the Declaration, and make the following two observations. On a conceptual and practical level, parliamentary sovereignty should not be viewed as an absolute barrier to Indigenous self-determination. We advocate for greater dialogue and analysis on the implementation of pluralism, as pluralism can take many forms, such as the devolvement of lawmaking power from Parliament to Indigenous groups, or complete Indigenous autonomy. This broad spectrum can be balanced to give substance to self-determination, the right to make decisions on our own affairs, and will protect Indigenous nationhood. Second, there is a need to recognise that the basis of sovereignty itself may be founded upon the alienation and colonisation of Indigenous peoples. This issue must be recognised and present in the discussions on implementing the Declaration. Echoing the calls on decision-making, there is a need to challenge the constitutional landscape and advocate for constitutional transformation and greater respect of our place as Indigenous peoples. Mr. Chairperson, we respectfully submit the following three recommendations. First, the expert mechanism follow the progress of the study of education with the aim to guarantee universal access for all Indigenous youth to language, culture, and provide scholarships to attend education institutes. Second, the expert mechanism and special rapporteur continue to monitor the endorsement and incorporation of the Declaration as mandated by Article 42 of the Declaration, with the participation of youth from the relevant regions, as well as the implementation of existing Indigenous customary laws into domestic law. Third, the expert mechanism undertake a study on pluralism and in particular whether parliamentary sovereignty can accommodate self-determination through Indigenous self-governance. As youth, the Declaration will continue as a key document in the protection of our Indigenous rights and future. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson.